Hey,
All right.
what's happening, everybody?
Welcome, everybody. BlabberMalt Show, episode 21 for August 8th, 2023. If you found us on Facebook or YouTube at The BlabberMalt Show, hit like, subscribe, follow, do all the things
Punch
so you'll
that
never miss an episode. You can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at BlabberMalt. And this is very exciting. You can also watch our full video episodes on Spotify now.
Watch out, Joe Rogan.
We're coming for you, Joe, to the moon.
Here we go. That's all good.
Yeah,
So, Dave, how was your weekend, man?
it was great. How about yours?
It was good. Did you
Yeah.
guys do anything crazy? Did you go to the lake?
Yeah, we were up at the lake,
Nice.
having some beers, out and about, enjoying
That's
the
always
sun and fun. Yeah.
Any music this weekend?
No music. No
Nothing.
music events. No, nothing crazy.
Gotcha. Well, we worked a lot. We had Brian's son's 21st birthday party on Sunday, so that was a nice little gathering.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was pretty fun. So
sounds good.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
absolutely, Dave. So I heard, not only are we on Spotify, I think that you did some work this week to help get our podcast out. Where else are
Yeah,
we?
we're everywhere. Anywhere you can get audio podcasts, we're there. We're on, let's see, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, CastBox, Radio Public, iHeartRadio, I said that already, Overcast, and Pocket Casts. We're everywhere.
We're everywhere.
So go and subscribe, sign up for a free account, subscribe to us on all of them because we need numbers. We need those numbers, son.
Need numbers. We're out here just putting out content, and as you can see here today, we're on our remote site, and we're at the place where I guess it all started.
That's right.
Right here at the Cleveland Brew Shop.
Represent the OG shirt here.
Absolutely. So we have Darren with us. Darren, hi.
How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Thanks
Awesome.
for coming.
Oh, our pleasure. Our pleasure.
So, yeah, if you are a home brewer, you already know about the Cleveland Brew Shop, and if you want to be a home brewer, you need to get down here because they have classes, they have competitions, they have events, they sell beer, they sell ingredients, they sell equipment, everything you need to get into home brewing.
And I think
So-
they have beer on tap.
They did. Well, that's just on the DL there, brother.
Tasters of homebrew, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, part of the joys of being a homebrew shop is someone brings in a little bit of homebrew to try, and we're
Yeah.
doing that right now.
Yes,
so
we are.
Kind of fun. I'm going to pass the mic over to Darren. You guys can just chit-chat a little bit, and I'll maybe interject along the way. But,
Yeah.
Darren, thanks for having us in.
Yeah, appreciate it. So, Darren, tell us a little bit about how you got involved with the Cleveland Brew Shop.
Yeah, sure. So, quick history is that it was started in 2012 by Paul Benner. I'd always kind of worked here part-time when I had like a regular 9 to 5 just because I was a home brewer, and
Right.
it was fun to do, and, employee discounts, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so then in Paul and I had sort of talked about casually about maybe me eventually purchasing it from him. And so as he got more involved with platform, we kind of decided to make it a thing and actually do it in the end of 2019, which turned out to be rough timing, but we made it work.
Yeah.
It was okay because it kind of forced us to put together a more robust website so that we could do curbside pickup and all that jazz. So I guess what I wanted to do taking over the shop is just I saw opportunities for the shop to do more things. And so we're slowly getting there. So now we do carry out of wine, carry out of beer, more events, more stuff with the homebrew community. And so,
Right.
so it's coming along.
I imagine, COVID was kind of bad timing, but, I mean, home brewing is a thing you do at home. It's a solitary hobby. Did you see business kind of do better than you expected during that time?
Yeah, it was a weird mix. It was a mix of, we definitely got new customers because, like you said, people just had time on their hands.
And they need beer,
but-
and they don't want to drink at a bar.
Right. They can't drink at a bar,
Yeah.
But then we did, there were some people that fell off. I think that, like, with kids being home and things like that, like, for some people, there was actually less time because, instead
Yeah.
of their kids being at school or activities, they were just home all the time. But it was like I said, it did force us to accelerate some things, which in the end, I think is good. It's funny because even now that things are relatively back to normal, people got so accustomed to putting orders in through our website
Oh, yeah.
ahead of time, and then we just tell them when it's ready, and then they come and pick it up.
Okay.
You still get some people that do like the old school way, because it used to be people would just walk in the door.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so you still get people doing both, but it's funny people got very accustomed to
Yeah.
pre-ordering, if you will.
Does that give you the freedom to kind of plan your day out a little bit better?
It does. Yeah. So like when somebody puts an order in, they get a message back like, this will be ready in up to 3 hours, I think is what it says. So
Yeah.
we can sort of, if it's something that's, we can play around with the timing a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Now, you have events too, and you have some homebrew clubs that meet here. How do people get information about the events that are
Yeah.
going on here in the meetups?
Yeah, so best thing is check out our website and follow us on social media. So there's 2 homebrew clubs that meet here the first and third Tuesday of each month, 7 o'clock, which is right when the shop closes.
Okay.
You don't have to sign up for them, or anybody's welcome. Any homebrewer's welcome who's interested. Clubs are great for getting. So if you're a homebrewer or a newer homebrewer and you give it to your friends, the default answer is like, oh, it's good, right? And they don't know really what they're talking about, and
Right.
they're getting free beer, and so they're a happy person. So if you want legitimate feedback or constructive criticism about what you're doing, homebrew clubs are a great way for that, and meeting other people that are doing the same thing that you're doing, having the same challenges, the same successes, etc.
Yeah, and they might taste a flaw in your beer that they had, and they got some advice. They pass it on to you.
Yeah.
You fix your beer. Everybody's happy.
Yeah. And that, as we all know, the home brewing community is very, very friendly people.
Yes.
Overall. So yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, so they follow you at what's your Facebook?
Yeah. So Facebook is Cleveland Brew Shop. Instagram is the Cleveland Brew Shop. We don't really tweet things, so it's really just between.
You're not on the X.
No, we're not on. Oh, right. Yeah, excuse me. Yeah. X. No, so yeah, Instagram, Facebook, and then the website. We're always updating stuff on there.
Yeah, and if you sign up for your email, you have the grist, I think.
Yeah. So monthly newsletter that comes out. Just again talking about events that are going on at the shop, new products, and if you sign up for the newsletter, you also accumulate points, and so you'll get discounts, things like that. So the more stuff you purchase, the more discounts you get.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you got to come on in. Homebrewers, people that want to get into brewing, or if you just want a crazy beer. They sell beer now, and they're selling wine, I understand. And the last time, I fell for it because I came in to get some grain and some hops, and I ended up buying $40 worth of beer because there was quite a selection we saw back there. Well, we're going to take a tour here in a minute and see.
I even asked that same question. I was like, do people buy a lot of beer? And Dave just didn't say anything at all. He wanted to spill the beans to the internet.
Yeah.
But, so Darren, I'm going to ask you a question kind of following up for people who are at home watching this for the first time, maybe have not been to the Cleveland Brew Shop, which could happen, right? Obviously, we have people who are watching us for beer, brewing, all the other bull crap we talk about, or just our friends that are really trying to support us. You never know. What does that look like? You said you could place an order here and pick it up. So when people hear homebrew shop, we're going to take a tour, I know that, but just take a moment to tell everybody here what it is that you actually sell. What does an order entail? What can I get here? What does it look like?
Yeah. So, a quick history of Homebrew Shop is back in the day, to get any sort of homebrew products, you might have had a hardware store that maybe had a small section of stuff, maybe a bottle shop that had a small section of stuff. So Homebrew Shop is really a place where you can get ingredients and equipment to do fermentation at home. That's the broad answer. Yes, we definitely serve a lot of beer customers, but we also have people that are making wine, cider, kombucha. We've gotten into carrying stuff for food, so kimchi, sauerkraut, etc. That's all fermented stuff, and not difficult to make. It's and the cool thing about fermentation is once you kind of understand the process in one aspect, it's very transferable to other things.
I agree, and I love fermented food.
Yeah,
So good.
hot sauce.
Hot sauce. Oh yeah. So if I were to say, if I've never brewed a beer before, but this podcast may have got someone interested in doing that, right? I can come here, or not just beer, wine, any other beverage like that. So if I say, you know what, I really want to do this, I don't have any idea what I want to do, I really don't want to go online because that's impersonal. I'm calling this major company, they're going to send me some stuff that might be crap. I want to do local, support local. I want to walk in and talk to somebody who knows what they're doing, right? And then they can help me pick the right stuff out. What do I do? If I'm walking in for the first time, what would you walk me through here? What do I look for?
Yeah. So, I mean, fermentation is definitely a lot. It can feel overwhelming at first because there's multiple steps. There's a good amount of equipment that you need. But a mix of us just sort of giving you the basics of like, hey, this is what to expect. And if you were interested in sort of more seeing something before doing it, we do classes. So first Saturday of every month is a beer making class. Second Saturday of every month is a wine making class. So a lot of people, are more visual learners. I am myself. And so sometimes seeing it and like kind of grasping it in that context is more helpful. But I mean, the basic thing that's going on is we're introducing yeast and sugar together and magic is happening.
Which is wonderful. So let's kind of recap that again, because if you have never homebrewed wine, beer, anything, and you're saying to yourself, you know what, Dave's a good home brewer. He seems like he has a lot of fun. We made it a career. You have as well now. I want to do that. So I can come here. How do I get involved in one of these classes?
Yeah. So classes are on the website. We use Eventbrite. So the classes run $20. They include a tasting, so for the beer class, a beer tasting, wine class, wine tasting, 12 o'clock Saturdays. If you want to come in the shop and talk to us, we can sign you up while you're in the shop as well. Either way works. But again, it's intentionally designed for beginners, and so if you walk in knowing nothing, you will know a lot more when you leave.
Which is wonderful, and as someone who partook in some of those classes years and years and years ago, right? They're very helpful.
Yeah.
And they're very, get you connected to somebody that is willing to talk to you through the process. I know I can see her behind where our camera's at. You have extract recipes for people who are just getting rolling into the process, right?
Yep.
An easy entry into that. What does that look like between what you have here on the shelf?
Yeah, so we, a lot of folks start with extract brewing, which essentially it cuts out a couple steps in the beginning, which makes it easier for people. And so rather than, there are a lot of kits out there that are recipes, but we decided to sort of make our own recipes of extract kits. So over the 11 years we've been open, we've developed a bunch of different kits, done a couple collabs with a couple breweries. So like we did a collab with Market Garden for their Prosperity Wheat, which is a Hefeweizen. We did a collab with Noble Beasts. We have a kit for their, I'm blanking on their flagship IPA. Sean's going to kill me.
Sean, I don't know it either, I'm sorry. But I'm sure it's really
Evil
good.
Motives.
Evil Motives.
It's called Evil Motives.
There we go.
Caught up.
Got it. I got it. Yeah. And so, you come in and you're like, oh, I've never brewed before. I want to make a Belgian wit. We have a kit for that. So across many styles, and again, all designed to be beginner friendly, so you're not overwhelmed with your first try.
And I see kombucha and hard seltzers, wine, cab, Sauvignon Blanc, Pinot Grigio, and lots of different opportunities.
Yeah, and I think that most people feel comfortable with doing something that has step-by-step instructions for their first couple times because they don't really know what they're doing, and so all the kits have step-by-step instructions so you can feel confident. You could follow a food recipe online. You could follow a beer or wine making recipe.
So do you have, are your classes geared towards beginner, intermediate, and experts, people that are maybe migrating from a kit to all grain?
So we touch on the more advanced process.
Okay.
The example we do in the class is the beginner process because we know that's where most people start.
Okay.
But we will cover mashing and we will cover mashing, which is the more advanced way of brewing that most people eventually get into, or quote unquote all grain brewing. So definitely geared towards beginners, but we touch on the more advanced topics.
Okay. Yeah. It's a great. Sounds like a great experience. I think anybody who's just getting into brewing should check that out for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. How about some of the competitions? I know you do beer competitions, and you got one coming up, I think.
Yeah. So I'll talk about a few. So the clubs, for starters, do competitions within the club, and so that's also a good way to sort of, if you've never entered a competition as a home brewer, it's a good way to understand what that process looks like about submitting a beer and it getting judged and you getting feedback, et cetera, et cetera. So the clubs do in-club competitions. Coming up for the shop, so last year we did, it was our 10th anniversary last year, so we did an Oktoberfest party and competition, and so all the beers, so getting into a little bit of jargon from a homebrew standpoint, it was basically all the categories that kind of fall in your European-style beers. I think it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. If you're looking at the BJCP, if those of you that know what that is out there.
Yes.
So we're doing it again because it was very successful last year. So it'll be a homebrew competition. So you submit a beer. It's an AHA sanctioned competition. So you'll submit a beer or multiple beers if you want. They'll get judged blindly by certified judges, and then September 23rd, which is the tail end of real Oktoberfest in Munich, we're going to have a party here at the shop, have the award ceremony. There'll be food, there'll be games, there'll be music. It was really fun last year. It was supposed to be a one-off event, but people enjoyed it enough that they kept kind of like nudging us, like, hey, you should do that again. And so we finally broke and we're doing it again.
Well, that's a good way to do it. Yeah, it's an in-club event, but you're still giving them a BJCP judge sheet, so it's just what you would get if you entered I don't want to say, not that this isn't legitimate, but a big scale brewing competition. It's the same feedback you'd get, the same judges. It's a real great way to get your feet wet, so to speak, and getting your beer judged.
Yeah. And then soon after that, there's going to be another tasting during Cleveland Beer Week. So there's no shortage of homebrew tastings around here. The Thursday of Cleveland Beer Week, the two homebrew clubs that meet here, one's called Brew 16, like 216. And the other one's called Brewly. They've both been around for several years now. They're kind of teaming up, and so there'll be a tasting the Thursday of Cleveland Beer Week.
Okay.
And that's a totally free homebrew tasting. I believe it's the only homebrew event during Cleveland Beer Week that I'm aware of, at least. There might be others now, but
okay, that sounds great. Hey, would you mind giving us a tour around the shop?
Sure. Yeah. Let's do it.
We'll do this.
Sure. Yeah, so we can start over here.
Yeah.
Front door. All your carboys and your vessels for doing fermentation. So a lot of times I think it's sort of heading this direction, and I won't get too much into detail about this, but I think folks come in and they want to do smaller scale. They aren't necessarily ready to jump into doing 5 or 6 gallons, even though as experienced homebrewers we know that like 5 gallons can move pretty fast.
Yeah.
Right? It sounds like a lot, but when you start doing it, you're like, oh, that's not that much.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you have your 5 or 6 gallon fermenters, but then also your smaller stuff. If you're like, maybe I want to start with 1 gallon or 2 gallons, that's an option.
Yeah, just go with 5. Start with 5.
Over here is some kegging stuff. So a lot of homebrewers eventually get tired of bottling, and so they want to start doing their kegging. And so kegging is done with what they call homebrew kegs or corny kegs, and so those used to be used for soda back in the day for like Pepsi and Coke. They became obsolete for them, and so now they're used by homebrewers, have been for many years now. So this is the kegging section. Going through here is sort of a lot of odds and ends. Testing and measuring equipment, your hydrometers, your stir plates, stuff to check pH, et cetera. Over here is more like your transferring stuff, so getting into your like auto siphons, brushes, funnels, all kinds of that good stuff.
We got bungs.
Bungs.
We got bungs.
Lots of sizes of bungs because
sizes of bungs.
People come in and they have like, this carboy I inherited from my grandpa, and it's made in all kinds of weird sizes, and so you never know what size top.
People have different size bung holes.
Yeah, they do.
Use bungs for.
Over here is more pieces, parts of kegging stuff. So we're big proponents of fixing stuff rather than just it's fun when somebody comes in and they bring their like old stuff and they're like trying to fix it and put it together, because you get to take it all apart and replace parts. And I think there's some satisfaction with doing that rather than just. I mean, sometimes you do have to scrap it and just buy a new one, but
yeah,
if you
the
can
gaskets, man, the gaskets.
Right, the gaskets fail. Yeah, right. This cooler used to be hops and yeast, but now it's just all hops. I'll change the sign eventually. So we recently switched over to Yakima Valley hops, which we're really happy with. They're just very fresh. They ship directly to us. I love that it says the crop year. Now, Yakima Chief hops are also great, but we got those through a third party, and so it's nice to just be able to get them directly from the supplier, the grower. I would love to make it out there one day and see the gigantic harvest.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah. Yeast cooler. So mix of dry and liquid yeast. Our big one we carry, that we started carrying, similar to Yakima Valley hops, is Omega yeast. Again, because we can get it directly from them. It ships from Chicago. We have it in 2 days, and we'll get stuff sometimes where the manufacturer date was a day or two before we received it. So it's like super, super fresh.
And it is amazing the dry yeast that are available now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and there's great dry yeast. I think back in the day maybe it was more true that some dry yeast was like the quality wasn't
right,
but nowadays it's excellent. Like my favorite saison yeast is Bell Saison from Lallemand. Mm-hmm. I'll use that over any other liquid yeast.
Great.
Yeah, so keep going. Malt extract. So for our beginner brewers or our seasoned brewers that might want to make a yeast starter using some dry malt extract or boost up their ABV, the different selections there. These are all your additives. So if you're adjusting your water, clarity, cleaners, sanitizers, obviously very important. And then we can go into the malt room. Always forever a dusty place. We do our best to keep it not dusty. So we carry quite a bit of malts. Everything in the big things on the bottom, the big canisters on the bottom are your base malts. Everything on the wall in the glass are your specialty malts. As far as local stuff goes, we do carry West Branch malts, which we're happy to do that. And then we carry stuff from all over the place. German pills, Belgian pills, 6-row. If you're old school and want to do some more difficult conversions, all your adjuncts, flaked corn, flaked maize, flaked rye, all that good stuff, and a nice hearty mill we burned through so many drills that we eventually switched over just to a motor, and that works a lot better. Coming over here, some swag. We get this stuff printed by a place called Keeping It Fresh, which was worked out funny because it was a guy I actually went to college with. And then we kind of reconnected because I found out that he was printing stuff. And so he's printed our shirts for us the last couple of times we've gotten them.
Yeah, those are nice. I have to upgrade my OG.
What's that?
I have to upgrade my OG shirt.
Yeah. No, but that's vintage now. That's worth more.
Oh, okay.
And then we recently got our permit to sell wine carryout, so we kind of moved all the alcohol into one place. So this is all the wine stuff. We kind of take an approach with the wine as something they call like minimal intervention winemaking, and so it's not necessarily like certified organic or certified sustainable, but all these farmers try to reach for those things. And so ideally, the less that they have to add to it, the better. That's kind of their approach. If they have to add something to save a batch, they will, but they try not to. So that's sort of our as many beers as there are out there, I think there might be more wines. It's very hard to pick.
You're right, yeah.
It's so hard to pick. Beer cooler over here. Mix of a lot of different stuff. I basically just purchase what I like.
Yeah, that's a nice
cooler
of beer there, yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, a mix of, obviously we try to get some local stuff. At the same time, I'm sometimes always torn because I'm like, hey, it's also just down the street and you could go get it directly from the source. But we do definitely carry some local stuff. Try to get some interesting things, some imports. I'm a huge Belgian beer fan, so I'm usually heavy on the Belgians, the Lambics, etc. This is where all the bottling stuff is, so just bottles, wine bottles, beer bottles, flip top bottles, etc. And then the space in the back is sort of a multi-use space where homebrew clubs meet, or we do our classes. It's kind of just used for whatever is needed. Have a little kegerator back here so we can try our homebrews. And then we do have an outdoor space which we utilize. It's kind of an unfinished outdoor space, just kind of a gravel grass lot, but we do utilize it for doing events, especially when the warm weather.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. So our Oktoberfest on September 23rd will be out there, weather permitting, of course, but we did it outside last year. It was really fun. Your basic
cool.
city lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's nice. It works out. You guys did the Big Brew there a few years back.
We did. We usually do Iron Brewer. That might be what you think.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And that actually just happened this past Saturday.
Okay.
So the tasting during Cleveland Beer Week, which is on October 5th, the beers that were made for Iron Brewer will be part of the tasting there.
Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah.
All right, well, as we walk back up front, I'm just going to review our socials. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube at The BlabberMalt Show. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Find us on Instagram and Twitter at BlabberMalt. And look for us on Spotify. Full video episodes are available now. And everywhere you get audio podcasts, we're there too. So
that's cool. I didn't know that Spotify did video stuff now.
Well, you have to use their hosting service.
Oh, gotcha.
Then they allow you to set
That's
it
cool.
up. Unless you're Joe Rogan, which will soon be his peer.
So thanks again for the tour.
Yeah.
One of the things that we move around, get us all messed up here as we finish up, is that I believe that this place really holds some significance to my time in brewing and Avon Brewing Company. I know Dave has some of the same connections.
Yeah.
We came here for some classes. We came here to have everybody try our beer when we were home brewers.
Yeah.
When we were connected across the street, we did a beer with them across the street and really just honed our craft and our skill, moved from extract to all grain here, got most of our grain from this place. Really just was our connection to the beer world. And so we are indebted to the Cleveland Brew Shop, along with most of the people in the area too. I mean, we were just at Terrestrial last week, and I think they can say the very same thing, that they are indebted to their time in the brew world from this beer shop, the brew shop. And so the fact that you really have brought life and to the shop again has been wonderful. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And I appreciate the history that you've been here for as long as you have been, helping us along the way too. So absolutely.
So what are the hours of the shop? Just I don't think we mentioned that.
Yeah. So we are open Tuesday through Friday, 11 to 7, Saturday 10 to 5. Closed Sunday, Monday.
Yeah, that reminds me. That's why I don't like to brew on Sunday or Monday, because you never know when you're going to need to run out, and if the Cleveland Brew Shop's closed, you're out of luck. So.
Once the cold weather starts to come around again, we'll be open on Sundays.
Oh, okay.
Again, yeah, short, like a 10 to 2, just for that exact reason. Somebody forgets something, they need to run out and grab something.
I broke my hydrometer.
Right. Yeah. Whatever it might be. Yeah.
That does happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Hydrometers are made of very fragile glass.
Oh, very, very fragile. So, again, we appreciate your time and the work you do in our community. If you're not a home brewer and you're thinking about brewing beer, wine, seltzers, kombucha, getting into any fermented foods, this is the place to come. One of the things we didn't talk about is that little book nook. Come in here and sit down and read about how to do what you're doing. Yeah. Grab some swag, get yourself involved in the community. You're not going to regret it.
Not at all. Yeah.
Not at all. So, Dave, what's coming up for us? Coming up
Well,
for us in the next near future.
Next week, we're in the studio, just me and you. We're sampling some beers you brought back from vacation.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're going to be drinking a lot of beer.
I think so.
And weekend after that, or the week after that, we're going to be at Buckeye Beer Engine.
Yep. For a live remote show there,
Yeah,
too.
live show.
Cool.
Ish.
So, a lot of stuff happening. Find us on all of the new places. Like, subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe at all the places. We need the numbers.
Almost like Dave's trying to get some money out of this thing. I don't know. I know it's great. Views are really important because we want to get the name of all their local wonderful establishments, just like here at the Cleveland Brew Shop, out to everybody in the internet. So until
Perfect.
everybody, until then, guys,
Stay malty, Cleveland.